You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm thy friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. You roll with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. If we don't play, all wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's OH. Somebody please give this brother an IO. Come on.
What up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk college football with real fans. I'm Devin. Got a busy night planned for you guys. A couple great interviews I'm excited about. It's one of my favorite times of the year because it's really like the only time of the year that these players, the Buckeyes, have time and the opportunity to come on shows like this, get introduced to Buckeye Nation. I love it. Love hearing backstories, getting to know them as people and as football players. So hopefully, while you're watching this interview, you can learn something new about a player that you're going to be watching this year. And who knows, when they make a mistake on the field, it might make you hold your tongue a little bit on social media. But shoot, man, we're lunatic fringe over here. You never know. But chat, before we get going, you already know what to do. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you download the Spreaker app, Scoop is on there. Show some love on that one, on Apple Podcast as well. If you're listening on that, give us a like, give us a subscribe as well. And also Super Chats. Super Chats are open. If you Super Chat a question for the guest tonight, man, hopefully I remember to pull them up. That's about all I got for you. Steely, maybe text me, maybe somebody remind me. And also, quick reminder, got Dominick Kelly coming on tonight. Right after that, we got TJ and Riley Pettyjohn coming on. Duke, his dad's going to be joining us as well. So like I said, busy night tonight, but I want to dive right into it. I gave it away already, but tonight we got one of the biggest portal additions in my mind, the one I was most surprised by and probably most excited about as well. Cornerback from Georgia, not from Georgia, from Florida, portaling from Georgia, Dominick Kelly. What's up, Dominick? How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, blessed, man. Blessed to be here. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you taking the time out. I know this is a transition time of your life. I had Hunter on yesterday, and he was telling me it happens fast. You got to pack up your whole apartment. You got to move.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're settled down a little bit now. Looks like you are. Looks like
Yeah,
you're settled
yeah.
in your apartment. So you in Columbus now, right?
Yes, sir.
Cool, man. Well, like I said, appreciate you joining the show. Like I said earlier, like I've been telling you over the messages, love to get to know players, right? If we're going to root for them and if we're going to yell for them, yell at them on the field as fans, then hey, we might as well get to know them a little bit. So
Right.
appreciate the opportunity, man. So did a little research, about you. Obviously, Buckeye fans were stoked when you entered it because this portal is so wild, right? The rosters are changing all the time. And right, when you see a younger player that I consider one of the stars in the portal that has a very high ceiling, hit the portal, come to Ohio State, a place where there's all this competition in all these rooms. It gets exciting. But all this had to start somewhere for you, man, right? There had to have been some point in time when you got into football and you were like, hey, I want to make this my future. Can you go back to that time and tell us about that a little bit? When and how did you get started in football?
Yeah, so I actually started somewhat late. I didn't start playing ball until I was like 11. I was actually really focused on soccer. I was like super involved. Got to a really high level of it. And what actually brought me to football was one of the gyms that I was training at. Had a lot of football guys, despite me being a soccer player. Had a lot of football influence. And my dad had always played, so even on times that during the time that I was playing soccer, we'd have the games on Sundays and it'd be on the background. And at that time, I wasn't really paying attention to it, but it rubbed off on me eventually. And yeah, just went to him one day and I was like, hey, I think I want to play some football, and kind of grown ever since then.
Yeah. Did you say your dad played football? You got any other
Yeah.
family members that played football?
No, he's the one.
Yeah, he's it. All right. Well, obviously you play corner now. tell us a little bit about your football career, man. What different positions have you played? Obviously, starting at 11, right? In a league like that, probably had you all over the field. Probably one of the most athletic kids on the field. So who knows where you're playing? But tell us about that transition. What different positions have you played in your football career so far?
Yeah, so I had always kind of played DB. You know, at the time it was like receiver and DB. I think when you're young, you know, that's usually the typical combo. And then I had some time at quarterback. You know, I was just really involved. I wanted to attack playing quarterback, and it kind of just got to the point where, you know, I had some people around me that were giving me advice that, hey, like, you know, we think it'd be a better route for you to choose playing corner. And really, since I started high school, I never played another position. You know, in high school, I never played receiver or any other position, just corner. So it's really something that I focus on since, you know, football's gotten serious for me, and I take, you know, perfecting my craft at DB very serious.
Yeah, when I talked to, I've talked to Devin Sanchez, the other corner on your team, pretty good corner as well. Talked to him, and they're all about that, focusing on their position, honing in on their craft, perfecting. It takes a lot of time behind the scenes, man. Something else it takes is a support group, right? There's a pattern that I see when I interview players such as yourself that have success and they have a bright future ahead of them, and that is a supporting cast behind them. You mentioned your dad already. Kind of speak a little bit to them, give them a little shout out here. Who is the support group that you rely on to help you make decisions and give you guidance through life?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm fortunate that, you know, I have a great one. You know, it truly does take a village to get somebody here at this level of football. So, yeah, obviously, you know, the first person definitely would be my dad. Like, you know, he's always pushed me to be the best, you know, not even just football player, but student, son, brother, just person I can be overall. I really wouldn't be here today without him. My grandma, she's always a huge support. She's been there along the way since my career started. And then, you know, all the trainers and coaches along the way, just massive impact on me, definitely developed me to, you know, all the experiences that I've had up until this point have developed me into the player that I am today. And, you know, I'm extremely grateful for those. I would not be here without them. And yeah, like I said, just grateful to have those people around me.
Yeah, every time I ask this question, Dominic, dude, it just like there's so many things about football to me anyway. I never played or anything, so I can't speak to it nearly as much as you could, but it reminds me of like life in general because your football career in some type of way, right? If you surround yourself with the wrong people, it's not going to go very far. If you listen to the wrong people, get the wrong advice, your career is not going to go the way you thought it was going to go. Well, that's just kind of like
Uh,
life, man. So I always get reminded of that. There's so many lessons to be learned in football, on the football field, right? On the football team that can translate into the real world. I find that really cool, man. So the little bit of research I did, man, said in high school that you ran track and you wrestled as well.
yes, sir. Correct.
Dang, all over the place, bro. Listen, so here's what I got. A couple things. Us psycho fans that are really crazy about football, I'm one of those. I like diving into height and weight of players, track times, all that stuff. So I looked up an 11.16 meter dash. Is that accurate?
No, not really. I'm probably somewhere now, really like 10-8 range. It's just a lot of those were like recorded numbers from when I first started running, and
Yeah.
then you know, usually on those recruiting websites, they're not always 100% up to date. So yeah,
No.
I was faster than that. No.
Yeah. No, that's why I asked that question
Yeah.
because I think that was like your sophomore year in high school or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
So I know things have changed. Also has you listed at 6'1", 190. Is that accurate
Yeah.
anymore?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's pretty accurate. What about your 40 time? Have you ran a 40 time
I
recently
have
at all?
not. No, I have not.
You haven't done it. Okay,
Right.
gotcha. All right, yeah, that's good stuff, man. Having the wrestling background, you said you played soccer as well, and running track. How have those playing those sports, devoting time to that? Have you felt like being in some of those other sports have translated to the football field for you at all?
Yeah, 1,000%. That was one of the main reasons really starting them was, you know, just the love that I had for football. I knew doing those two things, being in those two sports were going to help me, you know, in my game. So wrestling was huge. You know, being able to have that physicality, the mindset that wrestling teaches you. I mean, I have the utmost respect for all wrestlers. Those guys are special human beings. The stuff that you have to put your body through to be successful in that sport is huge, and it really taught me a lot of lessons. Not to mention, you know, technique in tackling, right? Like learning how to do a double or single leg takedown is a direct translation into football. So I think that really helped my tackling technique. And something that a lot of people don't realize about wrestling too is like injury prevention. Learning how to fall, learning how to roll, all that stuff was huge in preventing me from having big time injuries in high school, just because I knew how to control my body or bail out in certain situations instead of fighting it and maybe causing a bigger injury. And then track, obviously, I mean, we all know how much of a correlation that is to football. Being able to develop, speed, quick twitch out of your starts, and as a DB especially, translating to coming out of your breaks or long speed trying to catch up to a receiver. So those having those two sports definitely helped my game a ton, and I'm thankful that I was able to recognize that in high school and have it translate to my game now.
Yeah, I can definitely see all of those aspects for sure. One of the things, wrestling, my dad was a pretty big wrestler growing up. Well, not growing up, when he was in high school. So he always told me stories. And the stories he told me, you have to be disciplined as all get out if you take wrestling serious, right? I mean, that dude wore trash bags to school. Well, that's
Yeah,
what he
thousand
told me
percent.
anyway.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got friends now that I still talk to and keep up with that are Division 1 college wrestlers now, and I tell them all the time, man, like you're a special person. Like, I know what I do looks hard from the outside, but people don't know how hard you got it.
Yeah, yeah, anymore, right? Definitely in football as well, though. There's so many people, so many young kids trying to get into this thing, and that just ups the competition every single year. Like I feel like, right, every 2 or 3 years, you see a position group or you see players come out that you've never seen before, and it's people starting at a young age, right, that have that discipline, that support group that are just focused on their craft, man. One of the decisions that you made earlier in your career, probably a year ago now, 2 years ago, was to reclassify, right? You should have been in the 2026 class. You're reclassified to the 2025 class. Can you speak a little bit to what went into that decision?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be at a advanced pace academically. So even though I was in high school at the time, I had already had all my credits and was eligible to graduate and all. And then from a football sense, I just felt, uh, my body was ready. The things that I needed to work on would have been solved by a college program. Not to mention being able to get into a program a year earlier, learn the playbook, learn what it takes to be a college athlete. So I felt as if if I'm ready, why not do that? Why not get in the system a year early? So at the time, I just really felt good about that decision and felt like it was going to prepare me and set me up for success.
Yeah, just like any decision in life, you've seen some decisions to reclass early not work out, and you've seen other ones work out pretty good. We just had Sonny Styles, right, a linebacker on our team. He reclassified early, about to be a first round draft pick, so it worked out pretty well for him. So obviously, he ended up at Georgia, man. Just real quick, before we dive into the Ohio State side of things, tell us about when you were looking for a school, right, coming out of high school. What were some things you were looking for? What are things you felt that you really needed to see out of a school? And ultimately, I'm assuming, right, at the time, Georgia was that school that you presumed was going to give you those things. So, what were you looking for back then, and did you get it?
Yeah, development and culture were huge for me coming out of high school. I really wanted to go somewhere that had shown to develop guys and get them ready for success in the league. Culture was a big one, having somewhere that, a coach that had a long tenure wherever he was at. I knew that he was maybe stable in his job. A position coach that had a well, like a good track record of where he's been, where he's at, who he's coached. And then obviously being able to play for a winning program, like everywhere I've gone in high school, that's something that was important to me. I've always been, someone that's wanted to be a winner since I got into football. So those were very attractive things at UGA, and not to mention, when I went up there on my visits, I just felt like, I had like a solid relationship with everyone over there. I felt like uh, compared to a lot of other schools, they keep things very honest, and where you stand. I think you've heard of stories in recruiting where sometimes guys get maybe swindled by things that are told to them on visits, or they're worried about the wrong things when they go. So I felt like I felt good about the whole situation coming out of high school about it, and ultimately that's what led me to pulling the trigger and making that decision.
Yeah. Being a corner, committing to Kirby Smart in Georgia, I don't think you'll hear anybody complain about that. Real smart decision to make for the most part. And obviously, Kirby thought, right, that good take, got on the field this year at Georgia. One of the things stood out to me is in the limited snaps that you did have, the 3 pass breakups that you had. And also, right, here's something I do. When I see a recruit enter the portal from another team, I automatically go to their message boards, right? So, boom, here I go. I heard you're committing. Go over to the Georgia message boards. They're tripping. They're like, no, no, no. I didn't want him to leave. Wanted to keep him. So I was like, all right, this dude must be a baller, man. So tell us about that. Tell us about your time on the field there, what it felt like to get on the field as a freshman in the SEC, and some things that maybe taught you, and how that experience was.
Yeah, I mean, those were huge. Extremely grateful for my time there. I learned a ton. Got to have very invaluable experiences, like you just spoke on, being able to have reps playing the SEC. I got to learn a lot. Grew up very fast. Being around, that team and some of those guys there that had been there for 4 or 5 years, those group of seniors was huge. Being able to be on those guys' hips every day and just kind of listen and pick up on the things that they were saying, or being around that coaching staff that has so much experience. And then obviously, my time on the field was huge, being able to kind of grow up on the field as a player, right? Like see certain things from a different angle. I think in high school you rely on, natural ability or whatever you think you may know football IQ wise. So being able to get those opportunities on the field, it kind of speeds up your process, because you get to see like, hey, I'm in it now. Like, let's figure it out. Um, so yeah, those were huge for me, being able to get that experience playing on the field and learn, just as fast as you can kind of be celebrated, as quick as you make a mistake, you can be scolded. So, learning to, I felt like this was always a strength of my game as a corner. I never really rode the wave of emotions. I kind of got to stay level headed. And I think,
Mm.
getting on the field early as a freshman kind of reiterated the importance of that as a player, because you get to see, like in college, the stage is so huge, right? Like, you're playing in front of 100,000 people. you know you make a play, they're clapping for you. You don't, everyone's kind of on you about it. But so yeah, I'm extremely grateful for those experiences that I got to have on the field, and definitely thankful for that opportunity.
Bro, that's some pretty good insight to have, right? Coming off your freshman year in college already, that emotional stuff you were talking about. Because in my experience as a fan watching football, I have seen like seriously physically gifted players, right, get jumped on the roster by not near as a gifted physical player as another one because of emotions, right? Because you can't control your emotions in those moments, right? Julian saying, our quarterback, who we absolutely love. One of the reasons I love him is because he's always just cool, calm, and collected for the most part, right? His first year starting as a quarterback. So that's huge, man. That's huge in a lot of things, but definitely starting as a freshman or playing as a freshman in the SEC. That's a good mentality to have and a good lesson to learn early in your career. But obviously, man, transfer portal, college football's wild now. Transfer portal first came out. I didn't like it. There are things about it I didn't like. I knew there was good things about it. It's like any tool in life, the internet. You can use the internet for good. You can use it for bad, right? But it's just kind of what it is now. I totally understand players, right? It gives them the opportunity, right, to go better their career somewhere else. Some players, we can argue whether they use it correctly or not, but that's the decision that they make. And this is a personal decision as well. So, right, you share as much as you want to share on this, but obviously you made the decision to enter the transfer portal. So my first question would be, right, if you want, give us a little bit of insight of what led to that decision to do that.
Yeah, like I spoke upon earlier, I have some people that are just extremely important to me, and I value their insight and their opinions on almost everything in my life. So just kind of them seeing some things from the outside, just in terms of development at my position at least. um, you know Also being able to kind of see just the trend of what's going on in college football. And for me, I think I wouldn't have made this decision if I didn't have proper advice, or I didn't have people around me that said like, hey, I think there's some other options out there that might be better for you. So, like I said, I'm extremely grateful for my time there. There's no hard feelings. It's not like I'm leaving somewhere where I felt like, oh, I had to get out of Dodge. Like,
Hmm.
um, like I just spoke upon earlier, being able to play and learn helped me mature extremely fast as a player and definitely developed me not only into a football player, but into the man I am right now. So, yeah, thankful for what I had over there, but just felt like, the decision to kind of explore some other options might have been better for me.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's weird, man. The first year of the transfer portal, right? I fell in love with some players on the roster. I mean, especially me here interviewing. Like a lot of the Ohio State players that entered the portal this year have been on my show. I've interviewed
Right.
them, I text them, I talked to them, and I'm like, dang, bro, right? That is what it is. But I don't know. Like, at least for me, there's something deeper, right? That's why I love these interviews, getting to know people, right? As not just football players, but as people as well, because there are several players that transferred, even me being a fan, right? Even some of the schools they transferred to, I want them to succeed, man. You know what I mean? Like, they signed with Ohio State, they found a better opportunity they felt would be better for them. They transferred, that's their decision. I'm going to root for them as much as I possibly can, man. But yeah, entered the portal. Bro, I just got to know, dude, when you did that, I'd always love to get insight on how crazy is it? Like, once you enter the portal, is it more intense than like high school recruiting? Is it less intense? Tell me about that? Because I feel like in the portal, I feel like it's got to be more intense because things are sped up a lot. You don't have
Yeah.
the luxury of official visits and multiple visits and taking your time. So speak to that a little bit, man, and the differences between high school recruiting and the portal.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It was crazy. It was, from the time that I like filed the paperwork to when like my paperwork actually was processed and I officially was in the portal to getting, my phone blown up at when I got in when the news broke out. Yeah, super crazy process. Like you're just constantly getting hit up, you're constantly getting messages from different people, phone calls. And then just like you spoke upon just how fast everything kind of moves, like you go from being wherever you were at to being kind of in limbo waiting to be officially in the portal to when you're in it, getting contacted by multiple different schools and trying to set up, hey, can we get you up here, can we do this? So yeah, it was crazy, everything moved really fast, and definitely kind of glad to be out of it now. That's not something you want to have, to do or have
Yeah.
to go through for a long period of time. So I'm glad that I'm out of it and found a place and I'm settled in now.
Yeah. Well, you found Ohio State. Ohio State found you. I like to say that a little bit better, but
Yeah.
tell us what you can about that, right? I know there's a lot behind the scenes that go on, but ultimately, man, how did that communication start, and what was it that led you to the decision? I got a follow up question that'll tie into this, but I want to hear this part first.
Yeah, just got hit up by some coaches. Had some communication with Coach Walt once I was, officially in the portal, and just honestly, wanted to get up there as fast and kind of experience some things because I never had previous relationship with Ohio State. I was never recruited. I never
Hmm.
had an offer out of high school. So for me, it was a very attractive thing hearing that, especially because knowing from the outside, the pedigree of the program. So to be able to kind of see it and to have the opportunity to go check it out, it was huge for me. And then when I got up here, man, just meeting everybody, seeing this culture, you can kind of see as soon as you're here, like, why the program is successful as it is, you know, why people speak on it, why former players are talking about how special it is. So yeah, during my visit, I got to see all that, got to meet everybody. Not to mention, I mean, for obvious reasons, the lineage of DBs and guys at my position that have come out of here is, second to none. I mean, so that was a very
Yeah.
attractive thing. And then going over, the philosophy and how they want to coach guys in my position, the resume of Coach Walt, not to mention the resume of Coach P. Getting to have conversations with both of them and just talk ball was huge, right? Like you get to really see how special they are as coaches and as people, and spending that time over the visit was just huge for me. Like getting to really bond with them and see like, all right, this is somewhere that I know I can thrive at and be successful at and that I belong at. I fit in. When I walked around and kind of met some of the guys and
Hmm.
met everybody, I got to see like, hey, this is kind of the culture that I was looking for. Um, so yeah, it moved really fast. It had to move fast just because I was close to the end of it all. But even though it was moving so fast, it didn't feel like a decision that was rushed. It felt like the right thing. It felt like it was meant to be. And,
Good.
when it came time for me to make that final decision, I just was like, yeah, this is what I've been looking for. There's nowhere else for me. I'm ready to work.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. There's several coaches on Ohio State staff that I would love to sit down and talk to, but I'd be lying to you if I didn't say Matt Patricia is
Yeah,
up there on my list of
for
coaches I
sure.
would love
For
to
sure.
sit down and talk to, bro, because, I mean, we don't need to go down the reasons why that is, but man, I'd be stoked to play for him, man. You're going to be blessed to play for him as well. But so in the portal, right, there's several different reasons people get in and all those things. But I feel like on some players, right, something on their list they pay attention to is the depth chart, right? At Ohio State, they bring in the best of the best, right? As a corner, you're going to go up against Jeremiah Smith, Brandon Ennis, Kyle Parker now, Chris Henry Jr., Jaquaden Guilford, right? All that wide receiver room in there. So you're going up against NFL talent. But at the same time, to get on the field, you got to beat out NFL talent, right? And with the transfer portal anymore, you see guys, right? They don't play, they don't start one year, boom, they're out the next year looking for a different spot. Speak to, right? Did that have an impact on your decision coming in here to Ohio State? Obviously, it does to some degree, but speak to the competition, right, that you're going to be experiencing at Ohio State. Is that something that draws you in as a football player to make you better?
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, that definitely was something that went into the decision, knowing like, hey, I'm going to be going against an NFL receiver room each and every day. Iron sharpens iron. There's nothing more valuable than having that competition in practice. And that's something that since high school I've kind of been, and I think it's shown everywhere that I've been in high school. I've had the highest level of competition opposite of me, and I got to see the effects of that firsthand, what it does for you as a player. Being able to go against somebody that is one of the best in the country, or just the room the best in the country, period. Then going out on Saturdays and going against somebody, you're playing with a little bit more confidence. And then in terms of in the room, I mean, yeah, competition breeds success. I think, especially coming from the room that I was just in the program I was just in, that's something that's, one of the main things on their priority list in terms of, what their philosophy is. So being able to be in a room where, there's no animosity, there's no hatred, but I think everybody pushes the next guy to be better. And nobody wants to be the guy kind of lagging behind while everyone else is making plays. So I think that was another attractive factor. And then also meeting the guys, realizing like, hey, this is a room that I think personality wise, we all blend in. And, we all have one common goal, despite whatever the depth chart may be. We all want to win. We're here to win a national championship. So I think that was definitely something that was attractive to me.
Yeah, that's good stuff there, man. You see a lot of players, they try to avoid that competition and that, it never made sense to me, man, because it's like, right, I mean, anything in life, you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. One
Exactly.
of our super chatters, Dominic, actually hit on this a little bit. Gio, thanks for the $5, brother. He said, Dominic, welcome to Buckeye Nation family. How excited are you knowing you'll get to hone your skills against JJ?
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, you get to see that what he does on Saturdays and the player he is. I think how can you not, as a corner, want to kind of go up against that and get better as a player? Whatever success or failures you might have against him, it's all developing you to be a better finished product at the end. So, super excited to get in and get practicing and have that opportunity.
Oh yeah, I will be too, man. Gio, thanks again for the $5. How do you feel about being coached by OG Walt and playing in Matt Patricia's defense? I know you've touched on a little bit. Expand on that a little bit more for us.
Yeah, I mean, those were two of the main reasons, of why I came to Ohio State. Like I said, getting to sit and talk to them and just talk football, getting to see the places that Coach Walt's been, the experience that he has, some of the guys that he's coached along the way. And then Coach P's resume speaks for itself. I mean, Super Bowl champion many of times. The list of guys that he's coached at my position is crazy. So just to have that knowledge rub off on you and then be in the building every day, like how could you not as a player want to be around that?
Yeah, I'd be pretty excited about that too, man. Steely, thanks for $1.99. He said, "Welcome to Buckeye Nation, Dominic. You got down the OHIO yet? OH?
Yeah, I owe.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. How about how would you describe the team that starts with an M? How would you say that
The
school?
team up north.
There we go. Yes. I love it, man. Here we go. This one here, BIA, man. Thanks for the $4.99. Yep. BIA slogan here at Ohio State. We love it. Live on that thing. Producing NFL, players left and right. Love it, man. Iggy leaving this year. I love that competitive nature. I don't know if you know Jermaine Matthews or not, but he's that competitive dog,
Yeah, for
bro. He
sure,
gets
for
in
sure.
it. He gets
Yeah.
you like talk a little bit of trash on the field?
No, I'm silent. I don't say nothing.
Really?
Yeah, I don't talk.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, dude. Last question. It's a question I ask everybody. This is the chat's most important question. They want me to ask it every time. What is your go-to meal, brother?
Like pregame meal?
No.
Or just period?
Nope. You got one meal left to eat on this earth. What's it going to be?
Ooh, I can do multiple things?
Oh yeah, put your meal together, bro.
Okay.
Put it
All
together.
right. So I gotta have some type of steak in there. I'm a huge steak guy. We'll probably
Oh
go
yeah.
some type of ribeye. I mean, I'm a huge pizza guy, so definitely some pizza in there. Seafood, I love seafood, so we're gonna throw, I don't know, like shrimp, scallops, clams. I'm a
Yeah.
huge seafood guy. And then for like the sides of everything, man, that's kind of hard. Like you kind of have to throw almost everything in there, honestly.
Miss
Probably
Joker putting the grocery store on his
probably some
list.
type of mashed potatoes or vegetables, just this huge feast
I feel you. Ribeyes on my plate for sure. I
for
literally
sure.
eat 4 ribeyes a week. Literally,
Yeah.
I go to Costco once a month, and I got
I'm
to
a-
deep freeze. I grew up on a Black Angus beef farm, so I'm used to eating a lot of steak. But now I got to go to Costco. Not near as
right.
good, but it works, man. It
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
Hey,
I'm a huge steak guy, and then obviously me being from Florida, seafood is a huge thing. I always grew up on all that. So
yeah. Whereabouts in Florida? Bradenton, right? I'm in.
St. Pete. Yeah, I know they got that on there, but that's just from IMG. But yeah, I'm originally from St. Pete.
Gotcha. I was just in St. Pete. I live in Tallahassee now. I'm from Ohio. I'm in
Okay.
Tallahassee right now. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
saw. Yeah, I had an 850 number. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right, brother. Hey, Dominic, I appreciate the heck out of you for coming on here, man. I know it's going to be busy the rest of the year for you, but hang around, bro. See if you can't get you on another time. See how the season goes. Going to be rooting for you. Man, I mean, you fit. Like I said, I interviewed several Buckeyes. No wonder you reclassed early. You sound like you got a really good head on your shoulders, real mature for your age. That's kind of this pattern we see with players coming to Ohio State that fit into this culture. I think you're going to absolutely thrive here, man. I love the opportunity to get to meet you, get to talk to you, get to know you as a person, not just a football player. Appreciate you giving us that opportunity, brother.
yes, sir. Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate
Yep, go Buckeyes, OH.
it. IO.
All right, folks, listen, this is going to be quick. Got to bounce out. Got another show. It's another stream. So, listen, I heard, what up? Robert Kelly, that's Dominick's dad. Appreciate you for letting him come on the show tonight, dude. I'm serious. I wouldn't just say this, but that was Epi Citanile type of interview right there, which if you watch the show was one of my favorite interviews. Very impressive young man you're raising right there. I couldn't be more excited. He's a Buckeye. I'm excited to watch him get on the field, see what he does. So appreciate you coming in the chat, watching tonight, brother. But guys, listen, head on over to the other one. I'm about to be late. Them dudes are probably in the studio thinking, where is this, bro? But listen, appreciate you guys for watching. Do the like, subscribe, all that stuff we do. Head on over to the other show, Riley Petty, John TJ Alfred. Go Buckeyes. OH.